these liquor store owners always sound so knowledgeable. I don't think they know what they're talking about. They make stuff up. All they know how to do is sound knowledgeable. Convincing me, you need one bottle for every two people. Okay. So we're on Kuf Lamed Tes Amud Aleph. So right after the two dots, let's just review what the question was. We'll start. Love
Amud Aleph or Amud Beis?
Kuf Lamed Tes Amud Aleph.
No.
For Amud Beis, we'd already be finished with the parak. V'yalamdeinu Rabbeinu love sabi achla v'yamda v'nisis ba'alekech havi ayerish havi. If a right, we said if the Mishnah was talking about if someone left over older and younger daughters, what happened if the daughter borrowed money and then afterwards a woman borrowed money and then afterwards she got married, and she has nichsei maluk. What is the husband's status in those nichsei maluk? Is he considered a lekeach? And a lekeach, we're talking over here about a halva that is a milva al peh. A milva al peh cannot be mitzi from lekuchas. Or yerush havi. So if it's if the husband's status in the nichsei maluk, when he acquires it, when he gets the right to eat the peiros, which will eventually, if she dies first, become a full-fledged ownership, is it considered to be a lekeach? It's considered as if he purchased it when he got married, and therefore he's not able to take away from the people who bought the land, who bought the nichsei maluk from his wife. Idilma yerush havi umilva al peh a goyim min hayarshim, and a milva al peh. I'm sorry, the lekeach. I'm sorry, not those people who are owed money by this wife. They can't take it away because they're just a milva al peh. Idilma yerush havi. Well, maybe it's considered a yerush umilva al peh goyim min hayarshim. And if his status is that of a Yerush, so the Balchayiv, the creditor of the wife, can go take it away. So let's skip now to Amalei Papa, 7 lines from the bottom. Amalei Papa l'Rabba. Lav Hainu the Shalach Rabban Begruse. L'chayra, this question of what the status of a husband is in the nichsei maluk of his wife when he gets married, it's Ravin sent this as a question in his letter. Misha makes v'hiniach amanu bas. Someone who died, and he left over a widow and a daughter. His wife, his widow, is entitled to mezainis. That's part of the ksuba, that she gets maintenance from his possessions. Nisis, habas. If the daughter, nisis habas. If the daughter and the daughter also gets mezainis, nisus habas, amanas mezainis nechasa. If the daughter gets married, the almana is mezainis from the nechasa. Mesa habas. I'm sorry, I got this wrong. Misha mesa niach almana ubas. Amanas mezainis nechasa. Amanas nisus habas. Amanas mezainis nechasa. What was the case? Let me look up the case. I'm not saying this. Betnai ksubas shekar katzova. Va'at hei yitva bebesi u'medzana nesekoy mei megan l'sach. Nis sabas v'chnisa nechasa l'bayna. Amanas nizanis minechasa. Mei sabas v'yosher bal. I think this is talking about what is the case? Misha meis v'niach almana ubas. Almanosa nizanis min chasav. Nisis habas, if the daughter got married, almanos and nizanis min nechasav. Even though the husband now has rights in the daughter's share of the nechasim. I'm sorry. Okay. He left over an almana, and his daughter, there was no sons. The daughter was the Yerush, right? The daughter was his Yerush. So even though the daughter is the Yerush, the almana still has rights to get mezainis from the Yerusha that the daughter gets. Nisas habas, if the daughter now gets married, so that which she yarshin from her father is now her husband. It's going to be nichsei melug of her husband. He's entitled to the paris. Almanas and mezainis from nechasav. The almana still retains the right to get mezainis from the nechasim that of this married daughter. Mesa habas, but now the daughter died. So now her husband is not just doesn't have the right to paris of the nichsei melug. He's now succeeded in fully owning those nechasim. So what's the din? Does the almana, still have a right to get mezainis in that Yerusha or not? I had this exact case that a daughter got the Yerusha and she married and then she died, and I wanted to know what's the din? Can the almana still take her mezainis from that Yerusha? For Amru, the almana does get mezainis from. She still continues to get the supported from the nichsei melug of the Yerusha that went to the daughter, and then her husband yarshin from her. The mother, the almana, is still going to get. So, if you say that the husband, when he married her, so he married her after the death of the original husband, the original father and husband. Then you can understand why the almana gets mezainis, because it's just like the mother was able to get mezainis from the daughter, even though she yashin from her father. So this is just the second step of Yerusha. The Yerusha doesn't take it away. This is part of the Tagonas Achamim, that the Yerusha of the Bas doesn't take away the mother's right, the almana's right to get mezainis. So it's still, even the second step, a two-step Yerusha, she still has a right to collect mezainis. But if you say the husband is treated like a likeach, and then when eventually she dies, he becomes the full-fledged likeach. Certainly, if the daughter had sold the Yerusha that she got, the mother could not go after the likeach, the person who bought it, and say, I want to get mezainis from it. She only has a right to the estate. As long as it passes in Yerusha, that's one thing. That's what the Chamu Mesakin. But even if someone else is Yerush, the state is looked at as intact, and the almana still has a right to get mezainis. But if it's sold, she doesn't. The sale is not. She's allowed to sell it. She's not mechayiv to hold on to it forever in order to provide for her mother. So if the husband is considered a lekeach, the almana shouldn't be able to get mezainis from it. So that's the first raya that it's kiyarish habi. Amar Abayi lav the shalach Robin anan lo yach. You seem to say just because of this is the raya that the husband is considered a yirish and a nichsei meluk. You say if you make it sound if we wouldn't have gotten this letter from Robin, we wouldn't have known what the din is. But we have another raya that this did. These are those that if someone has money that's owed, it doesn't go back. Someone gets money, it doesn't go back b'yovel. The din is, as we know, that when yovel comes along, anyone who sold their estates, it goes back to the purchaser. It goes back to the seller when yovel comes. The purchaser has to give it back to the seller. But some types of acquisitions do not go back. So one is habechayra, someone who a son who gets the chelik of the bechar. He's not considered to be a lekech. He's not considered to be a purchaser. I seem to remember that we talk about when the ach and shecholku are they considered to be lekucha seinu yarshana. We're saying the bechar, the chelik of the bechar, there's no, isn't it? That the Torah says he gets a double portion. That portion has a different status than that of the other brothers, and that's not considered to be a purchase from the other brothers. He's not getting it in return for giving them their portion. He's entitled to it straight out, and therefore it doesn't have it doesn't have a din that he acquired as a lekeach, therefore it doesn't go back in yai. And secondly, hayirish ishtay, someone who yarshins from his wife. It's also not a lekech. Rather, it's considered that he yarshin from his wife, and therefore it doesn't get the din that you have to go back and look by Yovel who yarshin from his wife, and then it goes back to the yarshim of the wife instead of going to the husband. Amalei Rava, Bahashta Shalach Miyadina. So we brought, so we're saying that it's treated as a Yerush and not as a Lekech. So we have two rayas that it's a husband is treated as a Yerush and not a Lekech in the Nichse Miluk. So Rabbi says back, Shalach Miyadinan. Now that we've seen this Igris, this letter from Ravin, and we also had the second raya as well, now you're saying we know that the din is that the husband is a Yerush. But Amr Rabbi Yossi Bachanina. Rabbi Yosef Bachanina said, "Usha Hiskino." They made a takana in Usha. This is a takanas chacham. Ha'isha shemachra b'nichsei milug b'chaye baila u'meisa. A woman who sold the nichsei milug during the lifetime of her husband, and then she died. So then, really, her husband was supposed to have yarshin the nichsei milug, and during the wife was selling nichsei milug. The husband was the one who was entitled to the payers. She's selling for what's going to be after she dies. We say, the husband, after his wife's death, he wants to now yarshin the nichsei milug. He can go back to the people who she had sold the portion to, and he could say, no, I'm taking it, it's mine. Now, if you say that the Baal is a Yerush, when he's first Yerush when she dies. That's after she sold it. How can he take precedent over the nichsei milug? But if you say he's a lekeach, then when he married her, he had got the status of a lekeach. So then you can understand his lekuchen. He was an earlier lekeach, so he has a prior lien. So it makes sense that he should have gotten the chacham would make such takana that he should be able to be moitzi miyad lekuchas. So we have a stira. The takunas usha is mashma that the husband is a lekeach, but the igris of Ravin, the igeris that Ravin said, and the din by Gabi Yovel is mashma that he has a status of a Yerush. Elam Ravashi, Baal Shaviu Rabbanan ki Yerush, Shaviu Rabbanan klekech. This whole din, right, that we're questioning whether he has a din of a Yerush or a din of lekech is all takanas chacham. This means be'etzem, the husband certainly doesn't have a right to. He can't. What would be? I don't remember exactly what would be, but the raisa. But without, I think the husband does yarshin mida raisa from his wife, but it wouldn't start from when he got married. The nichsei milug is takanas chacham, so that would be that he yarshins when he dies. But that which we're saying that maybe when he marries her, that's the takanas chachamim. That from that point, he's either he gets a status that he gets the paris, and that he's going to possibly be treated as a yerush or lekech from that point. But the chachamim were flexible in their imposition of this din that the husband gets has rights in nichsei milug. So sometimes they treat him as a yerush, and sometimes they treat him like kech. Behecha de tavale Avdulay Gabi the Tavu Avdulay. Whatever's good for him, that's what they did. Gabi Yovel, the Gabi Yovel. That if he's considered like Kech, it's going to be taken away from him, Shavu Rabban and Yirish. The Chama made him like a Yirish, so that when Yovel comes, the other Yarshim of the wife can't go and take back what he got as a would be if he was a Lekech, if they treat him as a Yirish. Mishum say the day in order that he shouldn't lose that. Gabi the Rabbi Yosef B'Chanina, and the Gabi the case of Rabbi Yosef B'Chanina, where meaning the Ba'usha Eskinu, that if the wife sold the Nichsei Milug on this summit, there's two Rabbi Yosef B'Chaninas, but the first one was Rav, and this over here we took as Rabbi Yosef B'Chanina, that a wife who sold the Nichsei Milug, that the Baal can take it out from the Kuchas. Shavu Rabbanan Ki Yerish. Mishum Seder Didei, in order that he should be able to be Motzia from the Kuchas. I'm sorry. So that way he will have the prior lien from when they got married. Gabi de Ravin, on Ahmed Aleph, the case of the daughter who married and was saying about whether the mother can get mezainis, which from say the almana, because we don't want the almana to lose out. So we say, if we would treat the right of the husband in the nichse melug as a lekeach, the almana would no longer be able to get her mezainis. Shavu rabbanan ki yerish. It's not over there. There's not a husband that's involved. The issue over there is whether we would rather benefit the almana. The almana is someone who needs a help.
The case of him again is where her daughter died, and now it's her son-in-law. Her son-in-law is Yerish Chasam, so we want to know.
Right.
So there's no more.
It's not necessarily her. It's not necessarily her son-in-law. It's her husband's son-in-law.
Her husband's son-in-law. So
yeah.
It doesn't even.
So the question is, if that husband is treated like a lekeach, so then the money's gone and the almana doesn't have anything to get in his
I think that in Rabban's case, the letter of Rabban, there's no husband anymore, so there's no tula for him. We try to do a benefit for the almana. He's dead.
No. Which husband? There's two husbands. The almana's husband or the daughter's husband?
The original guy who owned the old money.
No. So we're talking over here about the person who was married to the daughter. I mean, all these cases.
Are referring to
over here, there is
the Baal. There's two Baals there, you know. The kids are trying to say it's bad for the original.
Right. You're saying over there the daughter was in all cases the daughter died, the wife died, and the question is if the husband gets it.
So we see,
in that case over there also the daughter is the one who died, and now her husband is getting it. The question is whether the almana. But we in the other cases the question is, do we go? We were choosing between a lekeach and the husband.
Right.
Over here, we're talking about an almana versus the husband. So the husband goes first, keneged others, keneged lekuchas, but the keneged and almana, he doesn't go first. Let's look at the Rashbam. The Rashbam says this clearly. Gabi the Robin, even over here, the husband is going to lose out, right? Because his wife died. The bas who was his wife died. We don't want to take away from the almana who had a prior right to get him a zainus, to take it away for her to benefit this husband.
That's a bit smart. Oh, that doesn't make sense. You know,
yeah.
Why is this situation different?
What about he asked a general question. Why are we worried about the husbands losing out? But there are also these lekuchas who purchased, right? That's talking about a isha who sold, and they sold it before the wife died. Why should the lekuchas lose out? So these lekuchas we don't have a lot of sympathy for. Since they were buying the nichse melug, as they were in the rishus of the Baal, and the Baal was eating the peris, and then going to the wife and buying from her, They shouldn't buy from a wife while she's still married. You're buying from a wife who is giving up the Paris to her husband. You know what you're stepping into. You're stepping into a hornet's nest. So we'd rather help out the husband rather than lekeach under those circumstances. Hadron Allah, yesh neichlin.
So the wife gets the payout, so to speak, from is that part of the ksuba, or is it the mezainis? I mean, doesn't she got
all these things are part of the ksuba. That means it's all in the ksuba that the nichsei melug, the husband gets the Paris, and it's even if there's no ksuba, even if there's no written ksuba, the chachamim like sort of put it into the ksuba. So the ksuba doesn't mean necessarily a piece of paper. This is mehilchas ksuba of her entitlements that when she brings karka into the marriage, that karka remains her, but he has rights to, first of all, to get it, to use the Paris as long as while they're married, and then if she dies, he yarshins the karka.
Right. I'm talking about different case. We're going to he died, so
the husband died.
Right, the husband died. So in the case we had,
she gets mezainis.
She gets mezainis. So how does that mezainis?
That mezainis is just a ksuba. It's takanas chachamim. And that's the next happens to be the next paragraph is going to talk about this. But the Yerusha goes to whoever the Yarshim are. So, but she has a right to maintenance payments. Like alimony from.
Besides the
to have what to live on. She has to have what to live on.
So we don't negate it from the 200 zuz. 200 zuz is a one-time payment she gets as soon as he dies.
Yeah, that's separate from nichsei melug. Okay. Or if he divorces her, he has to pay the 200. In addition, nichsei melug is separate. There's also nichsei barzel, which is so there's three things, right? There's the 200 zuz, the payment, right? Depending if she's not a psula, then she gets 100 zuz. Then there's nichsei melug, is things that she brought into the marriage and she handed over to him. Says now, we will have one joint account, so you're going to get the Paris, but when I die, you'll give me back those lands, whatever they are. There's nichsei barzel, where let's say the woman's father says, I'm handing over to you this apartment building. It's worth $1 million. When if he dies or you get divorced, you have to give over $1 million worth of karka. You owe $1 million. That's nichsei barzel, meaning that it's a set amount. It's not.
Gary, that's not a gift.
That's not a gift. That's more a loan, like sort of the way to look at it. It's a loan that he has to pay back.
Interest-free loan.
Right. Well, every Jewish loan is interest-free.
Of course.
Don't you remember?
Never do hard money 100%. We would never. We're too much.
Okay.
In other words, she gets her 200 zuz or a karka, and that gets 200 zuz. On top of that, she gets a lifetime available.
Her rights to collect the 200 is secured by his karka.
Right. Okay. So she collects that, and then on top of that, she gets a lifetime.
Right. There's really a fourth. Right. That's the fourth thing that she's entitled to mezainis.
It's a lifetime.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know where the 200 zuz falls into the mezainis. Maybe she already has some money. I never really thought about that. Yeah, I guess she has some money, so she doesn't need mezainis. I don't know how that works.
So those two things, but where does alimony come in?
No, we were just saying that the maintenance is like an alimony payment.
I understand. We just said three different things.
You said that.
So what is this?
So you said that the mezainis is separate on top of that. That if she doesn't have what to eat, she gets what to eat. I think it's only if she doesn't have one. She doesn't have.
Okay, I guess
that's a fourth thing. Yeah. Zok the mission. Misha Meis Veniach Banim Ubanis, someone who died and he left over sons and daughters. A mix. Bizman I'm sorry, Merubin, when the assets are sufficient, they're a lot. Habanim Yeshu, so sons have precedence in Yerusha. So sons get the Yerusha. Vahabanis Yuzainu. And the daughters are entitled to their mezainis, which is the same thing like we said for and it will come up in the Gemara also about that the almana is entitled to mezainis. The Gemara is going to ask who comes first, the daughters or the mother. But the point is, daughters have a right to this maintenance payment to provide for their food and their clothing and what they need to live on in order to get married off. So Rashbam says, and the husbands, you're curious about what these payments are. The Rashbam says, "Habanos yizainu mezainus uparnosus nesuin achetis bagun, oish achetis azon legavin." The food and what they need to get married, and we saw before that also includes the parnasa. Parnasa, it means their clothing. So that's the way it gets divided up. There's enough for the sons to get their Yerusha and the daughters to get their maintenance payments. Nechasim muatim, but if there's insufficient assets, habanos yizanu, the daughters get their maintenance, v'habanim yishul ha'psachim. In that case, they're going to get their regular payments, the good daughters, so that they shouldn't be hungry. And the sons will have to go beg. As we've seen, we're going to see, I think the Gemara is going to say it over here. We had it in previous Gemaras, that is more of a tznius issue for daughters to be going around begging. So they'll get precedence over the sons. Adman says, because I'm a man, I should lose out. Meaning, why should it be that the women are getting maintenance payments? I'm really supposed, as the Gemara is going to conclude after a discussion at the end, we're not going to get to that probably today, but he says, I really am supposed to get the Yerusha first. Now, because there's not sufficient Yerusha, there's not sufficient money in the state to both pay me the Yerusha and support them, so now I have to go behind the daughters, and I have to go beg when they are getting payments. I should at least get the maintenance payment just like them. Ram Gamliel says, I agree with Adam. When we say if there's sufficient money in the estate, then you give the sons the Yerusha and the daughters get their maintenance. It has to be, if there's enough money for them to survive on for 12 months, both the boys and the girls, so then you can give the boys the Yerusha, and the daughters continue to get their maintenance, and then the boys got the Yerusha. They can do with it as they please. This is Reb Gamliel shita, that considered to be sufficient that you can hand over the Yerusha to the boys is a 1 month's maintenance for each of them. This is Reb Gamliel. The Chacham disagree. It has to be enough money to maintain both the girls and the boys until they become adults. So the girls really are getting everything they're entitled to. It means there has to be enough money that they can get. They only get supported mezainis until they become adults. At that point, they're on their own. The din of maintenance doesn't extend past it. So we're saying only if you have enough money in the kitty, to fully support the daughters until their majority, as well as the boys. At that point, you can give the sons their Yerusha and continue paying off the mezainis. He says the same definition, not like Rabbi Yehuda Merav said, but rather like Shmuel had said, that it's going to be, in order to be Merubin, that the sons can get the Yerusha, it has to be until they grow up. If the amount that's left is only enough, if it has to be enough that you could feed them until they grow up, do we say that then the daughter gets everything? Meaning, before we said, Adman says, B'shilshani Zachav Sadati, the Tanakama, the Mishnah had said, Habanas Yuzaynu, Habanim Yishul Ol Psachim. It sounds like that, but if it's less, if it's muatim, then the daughters get all the maintenance and the son gets nothing. How could that be? If there's enough, we said it has to be enough for both the boys and the girls to make it to majority. But now the sons they're getting worse off. They're not going to be allowed to take possession of the Yerusha until there's enough for them to be misbaga. But the girls already have gotten everything they need. So why should they lose? Why should they lose that they don't get, then they have to go be Masal Psachim. Why can't they get the Yerusha, whatever's in those say it should continue paying even after the 12th year and go to the girls you leave money in the estate. But now we have already enough in the estate to pay for them their full mission under those circumstances. He says no circumstances when it's enough. What it means to say, I guess what it means to say is if there's enough for both of them, I guess the question is, this is we're trying to talk about but the point is that in the end, if there is an excess of what the daughter needs, the sons can actually access it. So the Rashbam says, "Vashalaban v'haydik tani yishul al psachim haynim shehoitzi oisei hashar oitzoyes mizaynis mikam ve'elech habanis yizanu ad sheyabag v'avanim yishul al psachim."
Didn't the first Rashbam also the question on the thirds?
So Zaktamar shaklu banis l'kulu bitmiya kiven the karas l'hu muatim. Since we said
this is the poor side guy. The guy does not have a big.
He doesn't have enough to provide for both the banim and the banis till they become 12 or 13 years old. The Mishnah is mashma that the sons don't get anything. So the Gemara says no, it doesn't mean the sons will yishal psachim, but it just means that if when they run out, they're going to get whatever's left over after the daughters are given their mezainis.
Right.
But what it means to say is the daughters are going to get first, and then the sons will get as much as is left. And when that runs out, they're going to have to be matzah.
So let's say it's an 8-year-old girl, and she has 4 years. It's 4 years of panasa for her.
Right.
And we realize that there isn't enough in the kitty to get it 4 years. It's only enough to get it till 11 years old for 3 years.
So it all goes to
the Gemara's question was, so what? He should get fed for 3 years and he'll get nothing.
No, that's not the question.
I thought that was the question. I mean, right. He should go back on the doors.
No, because that's what we're going to explain, that we give the daughters precedence.
Because it's serious. The full 3 years. In true shot, that has to be. It's not just 1 year. It can be 6 years.
That's what we're saying. If there's not enough in the estate, you can't start giving out the estate, dispersing the estate to the sons. You have to leave it there. According to the Shita, you have to leave it in the estate for the daughters.
So you're going in the Kasha or the Teretz?
I'm going in the
Teretz.
No, that's L'Kuliyam. The Kasha was not where there's not enough in the estate for the daughter to reach 12. Everyone.
That's not the question?
No, because the question is, even if it's let's say it's $100 a year, right? And she's 8 years old, and the brother is 5 years old.
Okay.
And there's $500 in the estate. The mashmais of the Mishnah is that the daughter gets the 400, and the other 100 is not available, because it says Habanim Yishuv, Habanis Yuzayin. So it's mashma that $100 is not, he doesn't get to it. It stays in the estate. Maybe like we're going to see, maybe the cost of mezainis will go up, and it'll be needed.
And the Teretz
says that no, when it says Yishul Psachim, he gets the $100, but it means that when the $100 runs out, she's going to keep getting her $400 every year, and he only gets 100, and that's what it means Yishul Psachim. Pshita, if it was a larger amount, that means let's say it was taka, they were twins. They were both 8 years old, and there was $1,000 and it costs $100 a year. So he needs 500 and she needs 400. So if it was $1,000, v'nismatu, as Rashbam says, and the cost of mezainis goes up. So the question is, the son got $600 as a Yerusha, But now the $400 that the daughter got is not enough to the $400 that was left for her mezainis is not enough to pay for it. In that case, Kvarzachu ben Yarshin, the Yerush, the son, already got his $600 and you can't take it away. But what happens if it was $600 and now it went up to $1,000? My B'shus Yarshin Kaimi, Hilkuch B'shus Yarshin Shavuach. If it was what, so do we say that the portion that was left for the yard was the Yerusha really belongs to when the father died, and I'm sorry, me. When we say so we said right. So the daughters get, we said 600. It's a total of 600. The daughters get 400. So the other 200 that came to the sons, do we say that's 200 is near Rishus? And when it goes up, it goes into their entitlement. Meaning the 400 that was given to daughters is now worth, let's say, 700. Those extra 300, that's really part of their Yerusha. And they get it. What do we say? Since the daughters got their $400 worth that they're entitled to for their mezainis, that's considered to be out of the Yerusha already, and they have no entitlement to it. And the daughters got lucky; they're going to end up, even though it's only 4 years and it's $100. It was $100 since the cost of mezainis went down. So they really have. I'm not saying it exactly right, but they have essentially $700 worth of mezainis. They already got it. They're already entitled to it. The price of grain went down, so therefore their $400 worth of grain is now worth 700. It's. I'm not saying it right. I'm saying they're. It's not really. They don't need as much money to get their mezainis. That's the point. They needed 400. Now they only need 200. So what happens to the other $200? Yeah. So okay, I think we're gonna have to stop because it's already 10 after 7. Okay.
Thank you.